On today's episode, we show you how to clean up a bioretention system that's filled with sediment. Stories about water and urban places. This is Ideanthro. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. Bioretention systems are pretty robust things, except in one instance, and that's when they're built too early. That's when they're built with development works before houses are built on the catchment, and a whole bunch of sediment gets washed off those house building sites because they're not doing good erosion sediment control. It ends up in the bioretention system, it smothers the plants, it might clog the system up, and it leaves this big thick layer of silt in there. On today's episode, we are going to show you one method for cleaning that out. Recently, we got a phone call randomly one morning from Stephen Turfree at Redland City Council, who was kind enough to be like, hey Jack, I've got a contractor out at a bioretention system. Right now, they're cleaning the system up. Maybe you want to come out and film this and show people, because you know they're doing a pretty good job, they've got a good process in place. Show people a method of doing this. It's not to say that it's the only way of doing it or the best way of doing it, but there were a number of things about this that were, about the way that they were doing it, that was neat that we want to show you. And that's what today's episode's about. So, about this bioretention system. It's not a tiny system, but it's not the world's biggest system. It's probably like 400 square meters of filter media in it, maybe a bit bigger to tell you the truth. It could have been pushing 500 odd. But you know, moderate sized precinct scale bioretention system. It had been built too early, lots of sediment had washed off the house building sites, and it had been left with, you know, maybe 150, 200 mils of really thick, clayey, silty rubbish on top of the system. It also had some like weedy grasses growing in it, although by the time I got there, those had been removed. And so when I got there, the contractor's hard at work in this system, and they were partway through. They'd cleared some of the silt and they were in the process of taking it to the truck. Now, one of the most important things, so there's a couple of things that, if you're going to go and remove silt from the top of a bioretention system, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of here. One is if there are these PVC flush out points in the filter media, then you want to be careful that you're not damaging those. So you might be using some light equipment in there. There was a little bobcat at this site and a light little excavator that they were using. If you're using equipment like that, you want to make sure that you're not accidentally damaging these PVC flush out points. And you know what? Good operators have incredible dexterity with this equipment, and they're going to be able to work around it. But you just want to be careful. The other and potentially bigger problem here is you want to, as much as possible, avoid actually driving on the filter media. Now that's a bit of a challenge. You've got a system that's 500 square meters in size. You're going to be moving over the top of the filter media bit. The main reason you want to do that, and this is particularly important if the filter media is shallow, but it's important in any sort of bioretention system. If you put a heavy machine on the top of the filter media, it's not super deep, there's PVC pipes or ag pipe at the bottom, you can crush the pipe, right? You need to be really aware of that, really, really careful of that when you're setting this up. And so what I liked about what this contractor did was, they identified well where they could get their truck to. For this, they identified, okay, we're going to need to get our equipment. We've got our two equipment, we've got our little excavator and our little bobcat here. We've identified we're going to use those to get the sediment up to the truck. And then they've gone, okay, we can't be driving on the straight filter media, but we do have a couple of 100 mils of really quite tough and robust silt on top of this. So what they did that was really smart is they were like, sweet, we're going to work from the back end of the system, and we're going to gradually pull it back towards us, pull all this silt back towards us, and we're going to leave ourselves a path of silt up through the center of the system so that we can continue. We can only ever drive on the silt, and we can slowly pull it up from further ends of the system, pull it back towards us, and then transport it out. So they were using the excavator to pull it off and pile it back towards them, and then using the bobcat to pick up what they'd piled, take it back up, dump it in the truck, loop back round. I'll show you a little clip of them doing that right now. For anyone who's watching this in audio, on the video version, we just showed a clip of that. But for the audio only people, we are back with it. So what you saw there, they've got the truck parked at the top of the embankment. They are running the Bobcat from the truck, because they've already stockpiled this. So they're running the Bobcat from the truck down the embankment, along this pathway through the middle of the system where they've left the silt. They're picking up a load. He's doing a little 3-point turn, coming around, coming up the embankment, dumping it, and he's just cycling around. And it was amazing how quickly he could fill up that truck. Like literally 10 minutes, he filled that truck. It was really, really, really quite impressive. He went off, guy dumped it reasonably close. That was definitely the longest part of this was, the truck having to drive off and dump the material. And then they were back at it. I really liked what they were doing. It was a bit dusty. It was pretty close to houses. That's something to be aware of. But just the fact that they thought this out well, they set the process well, is what we were after. That's what I wanted to show you. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Before you go, our best episodes come from your questions. This knowledge base, these discussions that are Ideanthro improve with your contribution. So if there's a topic, an idea, a concept that you would like us to explore, come and ask us. You know where to find us. www.ideanthro.com/contact. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and that place you get your good podcasts from. You know where to find us. We look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you soon.